It's without a doubt that Jeepers Creepers introduced a terrifying, haunting horror icon. The Creeper has been a thing of nightmares which has brought fear to many since his first appearance on screen. The first movie was a great success with horror lovers, however this does not mean that the franchise has not seen better days, nor that it has never faced any controversy. So what happened with the franchise, and why is there a dark cloud that overshadows what could have been one of the best horror franchises in history? Welcome to my channel, my name is Em, aka Horror, and this is the downfall of the Creeper.
Creepers, creepers, where'd you get those creepers?
The inspiration behind the story of Jeepers Creepers is said to be based loosely on an apparent real-life story which was told to the director Victor Salva. It is said that he heard a story about an elderly couple who saw someone throwing something down a pipe. Their curiosity got the best of them and they returned to the pipe to see if they could locate exactly what it was that was being disposed of. This led to Victor Salva having a thought about how brave that was of the couple and how if it were in a scene of a horror movie it would have him on the edge of his seat. However, the opening sequence of the movie is also very similar to a real-life case which happened in 1990 where a couple of siblings bore witness to the events of Dennis Depew. Depew, a 46-year-old guidance counsellor, had murdered his estranged wife Marilyn when he was picking up his children from her home. After the children did not want to go with him, Marilyn had tried to talk to Dennis, but he ended up pushing her down the stairs and then beating her in front of their children. Later the same day, the sibling duo, Ray and Marie, saw Depew speed past them in his vehicle and dispose of a bloody sheet behind the schoolhouse. What the siblings paid particular notice of was the license plate on the van, which began with GZ. When they passed the school, Depew pulled out behind them and tailgated them for the next few miles. When Ray turned off the highway, they saw the van pull up to the side and change the license plates. Due to seeing blood on the passenger's side door, they decided to return to the schoolhouse. When arriving there, they found the bloodied sheet and called this through to the police, who later found the body of Marilyn, who had also been shot in the head. Depew took his own life because of the events that transpired and sent letters to the family where he tried to justify Marilyn's death. The similarities in the case are too similar to the opening sequence to ignore, which has made many believe that this is the real inspiration behind the scenes. It took Salva only 1 month to write the script for Jeepers Creepers. He has stated that he took inspiration from movies such as Night of the Living Dead, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and The Birds. He said that he wanted to see the creature in the movie target mainly men, as he was tired of seeing women being victims in movies. There was an aspect to the creature which Salva wanted to make clear but keep mysterious at the same time, which was that the Creeper was not human. He was advised against doing this, but he rewrote some of the script to keep the mystery aspect. 2 days after the final script was distributed to potential studios, 4 offers came in, and the decision was made to accept a joint agreement between Germany's VCL Films and United Artists. There were to be 3 main characters in the movie, a brother and sister team, Trish and Darry, and the villain of the movie known as the Creeper. Finding the right actors to embody Trish and Darry was crucial, as there needed to be a certain chemistry between the two characters to portray not only the sibling dynamic, but also the emotions and horror they go through. Getting this right was important, as it needed to ground the film's heightening horror. Auditions took place and the decision was made to go with smaller names at the time, leading to Gina Phillips being casted as Trish and Justin Long as Darry. Phillips got the role due to her authenticity, whilst Long showed a natural way of portraying fear. Phillips admitted she put a lot of effort into the preparation of the character. She spent days and weeks putting herself in the shoes of Trish and her life, going back to when Trish was 5 years old. She knew the character inside and out. When talking about her preparation for the character, Phillips said, "I actually wrote hundreds of pages for about 6 weeks about everything from what she likes to eat to her favourite music, and I feel like I know who she is. I'm confident of who she is. No matter what's thrown at me, I don't have to think about what Trish would do in this situation. I know what Trish would do. I know how she'd react." Getting the casting right for the siblings was one thing, however, the real task in the casting was to find the perfect person to be the Creeper. The role was initially written for actor Lance Henriksen, however, he ended up dropping out of the project. So now the hunt was on. Jonathan Breck decided to audition for the role to conquer his own fear of horror. To prepare for the audition, he shaved his head, with his reason being that the Creeper would not have any hair. He made a terrifyingly great impression, landing him the role. A few more casting decisions were made for the small roles throughout, with Eileen Brennan being cast as the Cat Lady and Patricia Belcher as Giselle, the woman who warns Trish and Darry of what they are due to expect. Locations were scouted and everything began to fall into place. With this, all was set to begin filming. Filming began in August 2000 in Central Florida. The summer was a grueling one, which made filming hard during heat waves and the Florida weather often reaching temperatures in the 90s. Numerous locations were used for different scenes of the movie. Locations included Dunellen, Ocala, Lake Panasoffkee, and Reddick. Permission was also granted to film in the streets of Dunellen, which was located near 3 schools. This brought concerns to the area after the school board learned of the director's troubled past, which would later catch up with him, being one of the reasons the franchise has seen a lot of backlash. The cast ended up working extremely well together, with Gina Phillips and Justin Long instantly having that sibling chemistry and connection needed to ensure the movie's story was effective. It wasn't just the chemistry between actors that made the movie not only easy to make, but also for audiences to watch. The cast was purposefully kept away from Jonathan Breck to ensure there wasn't as much of a connection between him and the other actors, leading to the terror of the Creeper being more realistic and powerful. What was even more impressive about Breck's on-screen presence was the costume of the Creeper itself. Taking up to 6 hours each day to get into and an hour to get out of, working in the extreme heat would have been very challenging. However, Salva commented that Breck impressed him as he did not moan once, embracing the creature and making a memorable performance. Although Salva had written an entire script for the movie, despite this being presented, his third act had to be cut due to budget cuts. In this third act, we would have seen Darry being unsuccessful in an attempted sacrifice to try and kill the Creeper. What was supposed to be used had to be rewritten, which led to actors improvising in the third act. However, all was not lost, as parts of what were written for the scene were later used in Jeepers Creepers 2. Due to the low budget of the movie, sound stages were also used for some scenes, as well as the art department's cafeteria. The team also had to be minimalistic with the bodies used in the Creeper's lair. However, they made it work, and what they would get as a finished product would go on to be a cult classic, loved and feared by many. The story of Jeepers Creepers follows 2 siblings, Trish and Darry, who are being tailgated by a driver in an old truck. When he eventually passes, the pair discuss an urban legend about their route and a missing young couple. As they drive past an old church, they see the same truck which had been tailgating them and witness the driver dumping something which looks like a bloody wrapped up body in an old pipe leading down into the church. When the driver notices them, he chases them in his car and drives them off the road. Curiosity gets the better of Darry and they return to see if they can find out what it was that was thrown into the pipe. When Darry falls into the pipe, he stumbles upon the body of a man who is barely alive. He realises that there are numerous corpses hanging from the ceiling and recognises one of the bodies as the woman of the missing couple. Darry manages to escape and together with Trish, they find a local diner. When at the diner, they receive a phone call warning them of the future events, mentioning they will meet a cat lady and warns of the song Jeepers Creepers, as when they hear this, it means trouble. When the police are called, they escort the siblings back to the church to see if they can locate the evidence of the bodies. However, the church has been set on fire and any evidence has been destroyed. As they are driving, the song Jeepers Creepers starts to play and the police are brutally killed by the truck driver from earlier. Witnessing this, Trish and Darry try to find help and end up at an old lady's house. The old lady and her many cats appear, but not long after she is killed by the driver, who appears and shows his true form to the pair. He is a terrifying looking creature. After an unsuccessful attempt at killing him, Trish and Darry find their way to the police station where they meet a woman named Giselle whose voice resembles the one they had heard on the phone earlier. She explains that the creature that they have come across is known as the Creeper, who slumbers for 23 years and during spring awakens to wreak havoc for 23 days. He kills those he comes across, sniffing them out from their fear and feeding on their body parts, incorporating them into his own. The Creeper appears at the police station and Giselle predicts that one of them will die a horrible death at the hands of the Creeper. The Creeper ultimately decides that Darry is the one that he wants, but Trish offers herself in place for her brother. However, this is not successful and the Creeper flies away with Darry. The next morning, a devastated Trish has a conversation with Giselle. The last thing that we see is the Creeper in his lair with Darry's dead body seen, his eyes gouged out and the back of his head removed, whilst the song Jeepers Creepers plays in the background. The movie had its US release on the 31st of August 2001. It grossed nearly $120 million worldwide and its initial release was a huge commercial success. However, the movie was subjected to mixed reviews, some thinking the movie was boring and lost all tension after the Creeper's reveal, whilst others thought it was an unsettling, gory and intelligent movie. It was compared positively to some of the previous decade's top-selling horror films such as Scream, but some also thought that the lack of explanation in parts let the movie down. This would not stop the story of the Creeper, however, as the film has since seen 3 sequels. Whilst Jeepers Creepers 2 was well received, the 3rd and 4th instalments have been slated heavily and flopped. There are numerous factors why the most recent instalments haven't been received as well. The 3rd movie felt very different to the first 2, despite being set in the same year. The mystery of the Creeper seen in the first 2 movies was taken away. Due to Victor Salva's past, audiences were also uneasy with the implication that one of the characters had been abused in a certain way. Jeepers Creepers Reborn, however, had different issues. This is the only film in the franchise that was not written by Salva, which, like it or not, shows. It is set in a completely different timeline to the first 3, having no connection to them and even referring to them as being movies. The Creeper felt completely different, with a new actor portraying him and the writing being in complete contrast to what had been done before. This has made the fanbase feel slightly let down and wondering if there is any way that the Jeepers Creepers franchise can ever redeem itself. However, there is much more behind the scenes which has left viewers and audiences feeling uneasy about the franchise in general. Poorly made sequels is one thing, but when it's revealed that there is a real-life monster behind the camera, that's when a franchise may truly never recover. Whilst he is best known for Jeepers Creepers, Victor Salva has been in the industry since the mid-80s. His movie Something in the Basement brought him great recognition and led him to names which would allow his career to start to flourish. However, it's his 1989 movie Clownhouse which would ultimately bring light to the true persona of the director. Clownhouse starred a young boy named Nathan Forrest Winters, who was around the age of 11 when the movie began production. Salva was a friend of Nathan's parents and offered him the role. However, flags were soon raised to Winters' mother when some of the cast and crew approached her to tell her that the interactions between Salva and the boy were not right. These conversations with her eventually led to the revelation that Salva was abusing Nathan and had been grooming him since he was 6 years old. Nathan has since spoken about the abuse, recalling his first memory of when the abuse started and how Salva gained the family's trust to the point he was able to look after Nathan for weekends, enabling the abuse. Winters also revealed that the abuse was recorded on camera. When Winters' parents found out, they reported this to the police, and Salva was sentenced to 3 years, serving not even half of that sentence. It was revealed in 2006 that at the time of Salva's arrest, CP was also found at his property. Salva is a registered sex offender, however, this has shockingly not stopped him from working in Hollywood, with his work being distributed by big company names such as Disney's Buena Vista Pictures. Not only does Salva's crimes darken the love many audiences have for his work, especially Jeepers Creepers, but it also shines a light on the dark secrets of Hollywood that many have tried to expose over the years. Behind the glitz and glamour, it is not uncommon to hear previous child stars reveal the abuse they were subjected to throughout their childhood whilst they were in the limelight. Many actors, such as Corey Feldman, have been highlighting the issues for years, but those in Hollywood seem to do whatever they can to protect the evil rather than the innocent, making you wonder what faces the real monsters in the film industry are hiding under. With Salva's story only being more spoken about in recent years, Jeepers Creepers, whilst a fantastically horrifying movie, now leaves a bittersweet taste in the mouths of its audiences. For many reasons, some just can't watch the movie anymore, whether that's because they see Salva in the Creeper or because of the protection and praise Salva has experienced since his crime, which includes being able to make this franchise. People don't want to support the work of a child abuser. Still adored and watched by many, Jeepers Creepers will likely never escape the real horror caused by the man who brought the Creeper to life. Whether or not the franchise goes on, the darkness which reigns over its maker serves as a reminder that the true monsters are those who hide in broad daylight. However, like the Creeper, they feed on fear, use you to their advantage, and will do everything they can not to be stopped.